it is Daniel Darth Hargrove here, and I'm here to bring you my spoiler-filled review of Star Wars The Force Awakens. So, if you didn't hear it in the awkward intro that I did, before the actual intro music played, this is the spoiler-filled review for Star Wars The Force Awakens. So, this is the last warning. If you haven't seen the film, or you just don't care about spoilers at all, this is the last warning. Because 3, 2, 1... Han Solo is dead. So let's talk about that first off, because that's a moment. That's a big moment. That's a pivotal thing. The relationship between Han Solo and Kylo Ren. I think it is a great dynamic and a great idea, and I was totally into it. But the moment of Han Solo's death was just not earned to me personally, or not earned to the fullest the way J.J. Abrams wanted it to be. And the problem with that comes with there's not enough history there. Like, when you look at Empire Strikes Back and you have the whole entire Luke, I'm your father moment, even if you had someone who's like, dude, we already knew Luke was the son of Darth Vader, okay? I'll give you that, whatever. But the emotional depth and gravity that the moment holds is there because you had a whole film to set up who Darth Vader was and who Luke Skywalker was, and setting up their differences and dynamics and all that stuff. But there's no history there. There's no tension build up that personally I could buy off of. I think that all the gravity that came in that scene came from Harrison Ford himself. And throughout the film, Harrison Ford is doing this thing of bringing history to the performance of Han Solo throughout The Force Awakens. He's bringing this mindset and this history and all these events with him every time he's on screen. And when you get to that moment, and I choked up in this moment. Like, I was in the theater, when he did it, he's like, Ben! And I was like, I can't just handle this much emotion. And not a knock to Adam Driver, but Harrison Ford carries that scene because he brings the history to it. To us, Kylo Ren just kind of comes off as whiny and you don't really see all the history. But to me, Harrison Ford really sold what that scene was for me with him just being, Ben, come home and you're still my son. And that even when he gets stabbed, he does that. That was the moment that broke me. Well, little tears shed. I ain't gonna lie. Even though it's nice that the scene can make you cry and all that, but it just didn't have that depth it would have had if they had maybe met earlier in the film, or then maybe they had like a talking or something like that, or maybe the scene was longer. Then that moment I would have been completely sold with that moment and would have been okay with it. Because a lot of people are like, no, Han Solo, I didn't want him to die. But I was okay with the concept of him dying, and I think his death at the hands of his son would be a fitting end for a character who had spent so much time running. When you first meet Han in Star Wars, he's not looking to get into the mixed in with all this, to get into war and politics and all that stuff. He just wants to be away from it all and get back to what he does best, because that's what makes him feel whole, and that's what being a smuggler makes him feel, I don't know, like he doesn't have to worry about those problems. That's why he goes back to it after all these years, and after losing his son, and after everything falls apart with his family and with Leia. That's why he goes back to smuggling, because that's just what he does to cope with things in his own way. And it's, to me, finally having the scoundrel face his demons in a real physical form is something very interesting. And like that Kylo Ren is a character born of neglect from Leia and Han, and someone who is swooned to the dark side by Snoke. And I think that's just really interesting. And I think it would be a fitting end for the character, for him to finally being able to face his pain and his tragedy, and to stop running away for one moment. Just stop running away, even though it's the end of him. he finally faced and confronted what he had been running from his whole entire life, and what's now taken a physical form. It's deep. I'm getting choked up already just thinking about it. But what the moment represents is I'm totally okay with. But the way it was executed wasn't that great, because it's just one. If you watch my spoiler-free review, I mentioned J.J. Abrams' camera work, and I think that when it comes to dramatic scenes, it's just something about his directing is not there. It's not as dynamic as it is with his action, and I'm not saying he needs to do crazy flips, one takes, and angles and all that stuff. I'm just saying he needs to put the camera in the right position to let the actors do what they do. And the actors were doing what they do in that scene, but the camera wasn't doing what it was supposed to do in that scene. So that's what took away some of the edge of it. And it just felt rushed. It just felt rushed because there's so much going on in this movie. There's 30 years of Star Wars lore to catch up on in a 2 hour and 10-minute film. And that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. I will give them that. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to you just got to execute it right, and you got to give that moments the time to breathe. But either way, I'm okay with the death of Han Solo. I think it could have been handled much better in order for it to fit the thematic depth and gravity they wanted it to hold. But either way, it was fine. It was fine. I know a lot of people talking about, maybe we shouldn't make all these characters related and stuff like that, because it shrinks the universe, and I agree. But the Star Wars movies are about the Skywalkers and their relationship to the Force in general. That's what they're usually about. And I think with this new cast of characters, you get an expansion of that, but the central core pillar characters are Skywalkers. And I think when you look at Rey, who is the potential daughter of Luke Skywalker, you really get that. And I think that's very interesting. Interesting dynamic between Kylo Ren and Rey. And I think that Rey's journey throughout this whole entire film was great, and her learning to accept the Force and her not to be in hiding of it and from her destiny is just so interesting. And I think it will be interesting to see what is the truth about her relationship to the Force. Is she actually the daughter of Luke Skywalker? Do they actually know each other? When they have that stare down at the end, and it looks like a music video, and it's all rotating. I'm sorry, the ending of the film looked like a music video. Let's be honest. Because he just turns around and he's like, da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na-na, and the waves are going and crashing and stuff like that. The camera's rotating. To me, it looked like a music video. But when you're looking at that moment, there's this look in Luke Skywalker's eyes that I don't know if he's acknowledging the fact that, oh crap, I've been found and someone's here, or it's like, oh, this is my daughter and she's here with my lightsaber, or is it just him looking at the lightsaber in general? I don't know specifically what was like capturing him in that moment. I think what they did with Luke Skywalker was really awesome. I think it was a very, very brave choice to not have him in the movie at all until the very end. I almost thought we weren't going to see him at all. I thought it was just going to be like, we get to the planet or whatever, or like it zooms in on Daisy Ridley and she's just like, and then it just cuts to the end, not that face, but just her face, or we just see the figure of him with the cloak on, but we never see his face. I didn't know what we were going to see, but either way, I enjoyed what they did. I was like, I respect that. I respect what you did there. That was nice. I'm trying to think of if there's any other points that really... I enjoyed Finn being a stormtrooper and just watching the development of his character, as well as Poe Dameron. Even though these characters are new and they have no relations, from what we know, to like Skywalker lineage and stuff like that, or like the bloodlines of the Force, it was so great to see these rich and invigorating characters on screen and doing what they just do, and just making this movie so fun, but having layers and just being awesome characters. That's really the main spoilers I have to talk about. It's just the relationships. I really loved the character of Kylo Ren. I thought they did a great job with him, and I think that watching his character go forward from now on, to see how much more powerful he could become now that he has gotten rid of his connection to the light, will be very interesting, because now that he has taken out his father, he is committed, ring and all, to the dark side. And overall, I'm just excited for episode 8 and the prospect of seeing these two characters develop. The characters of Kylo Ren and Rey, and just seeing their parallels and seeing them training and see what they become, because I think they're going to be powerful, very, very powerful characters. And man, Kylo Ren's Force abilities, the new ability to do the Force stop, like stopping both the lanes, that was insane. But either way, that's really all I have to say about the main points of the film. If we want to get nitpicky and get into the details, yeah, let's do that in the comment sections down below. So let's talk about everything. This is where we can get all spoilery, not in the spoiler-free review, but right here in these comment sections. Let's talk about what we thought about the film, what we liked, what we didn't like, what we're speculating for episode 8, the future. I'm really excited. I really like the film. You should check out my review. But anyways, if you liked this spoiler discussion, hit that like button down below and subscribe to become a part of the Geek Speak Nation, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, we're on our way to 300 subscribers, and we need each and every single one of you to make that happen, because we're at 150. That's pretty awesome. We're halfway there. That's dope. But if you did not like my review, you will hit the like button and subscribe to become a part of the Geek Nation. From that point on, I will finish what you started. I'm going to be doing Kylo Ren impressions all the time. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to get geeky.